making a waste-free future happen together. Your partner for change. CalRecycle is advancing world-leading reforms to cut waste and build circular use systems for all materials. Join California's climate fight and shift to a circular use economy. CalRecycle's monthly public meeting starts now.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us for the first monthly public meeting of 2026. Quick reminder, we will briefly pause after each agenda item to take public comments and to give our live Spanish language interpreters time to relay information. For taking live public comments throughout the meeting, please raise your hand in Zoom or call in now if you have comments on the upcoming items. The Director's Report, Plastic Pollution Prevention, SB 54, Progress Update, or the Textile Stewardship Update. Our first agenda item is the Director's Report from CalRecycle's Director, Zoe Heller. Good morning.
Morning, and good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. Hope everybody had a relaxing holiday season as we've moved into this already wild year of 2026. Looking forward to all that's ahead. A lot of exciting things on the agenda. For the Director's Report, I'm going to keep it short today and give you all an SB 54 update. There's been a lot of information kind of swirling about what's happening, so I'll let you all know what's happening. So as you're likely aware, CalRecycle withdrew the proposed regulations from the Office of Administrative Law the Friday before last. I think I have that right. And the reason we did this was because in the process of submitting and review, we realized that there was an opportunity to provide more clarity and more specificity on a specific component of the regulations, and that's the exclusions for food and ag commodities. And we're doing this because we want the successful implementation of the law. And we heard from many of you some concerns about that area. So we thought some clarity, specificity would be helpful for implementation so that we have a successful program moving forward. So the next step is we're going to announce a 15-day public comment period in the not too distant future, and we'll circulate targeted revisions to the SB 54 regulations, once again with a focus on that food and ag exclusion piece. And to help interested parties prepare comments, what we're going to do is very, very clearly mark where those revisions have been made. During this process, we'll be asking for comments on the marked revisions. This is consistent with updated comment periods for regulations. CalRecycle will carefully consider feedback on the revised text, but consistent with our legal obligations and the need to move forward with this regulation package as quickly as we can, we will not be addressing comments that are not focused on the revisions. So once again, just encourage all of you who are interested in commenting to stay very focused on where CalRecycle has made those revisions. So please make sure that you're signed up for our SB 54 listserv and keep an eye on your email for upcoming announcements. I'm going to turn it over to our Deputy Director, Michelle Martin, who has a few more updates on this law and other programs as well.
Great, thank you, Zoe. Good morning, everybody. On December 30th, 2025, CalRecycle published the final findings report for the material characterization study. This report includes estimates of covered materials landfilled in California. For more information, you can visit the SB 54 webpage. And also on December 31st, 2025, CalRecycle published updates to the covered material categories list, including for the first time published recycling rates covered by covered material category. This update does not include any changes to categories of covered materials published in the September 2nd, 2025 updated list of CMCs. For more information, you can visit the CMC webpage. The next Packaging Producer Responsibility Advisory Board meeting is scheduled for this Friday, January 23rd, here in the Cali, PA headquarters building. Agenda topics include an update from CalRecycle on 54 implementation, a panel discussion of the Plastic Pollution Mitigation Fund, and an update from the Producer Responsibility Organization, Circular Action Alliance. You can visit the Packaging Producer Responsibility Advisory Board webpage for more information. Next, the Responsible Textile Recovery Act requires producers of covered textile articles and apparel to form and join a Producer Responsibility Organization, or a PRO. Applications to become the textile PRO were due to CalRecycle on January 1st, 2026. 3 organizations applied: Landbell USA Incorporated, Textile Renewal Alliance, and Circular Textile Alliance. CalRecycle will review these applications and approve 1 PRO by March 1st, 2026. Then producers have until July 1st to join the PRO approved by the department. Subscribe to CalRecycle's Textile Stewardship listserv for updates.
Now on to public comment. Do we have any comments in the room? On Zoom? On the phone?
No comments.
Great. Looking ahead, please raise your hand on Zoom or call in now if you have comments on the grant awards, product stewardship, contracts, co-disposal site cleanup announcement, and facility permit updates. Let's go back to Michelle Martin with our next agenda item.
Let's welcome Marissa Coda. She's going to present some grant award announcements.
Thank you, Michelle. CalRecycle is awarding $9.5 million to 430 cities and counties to support California beverage container recycling goals. The City-County Payment Program awards will help fund public education and outreach, recycling bins, water refill stations, and recycling collection in underserved areas. Additional details are linked in today's agenda. Next, CalRecycle is awarding $1.5 million to 16 applicants to expand household hazardous waste collection programs. $500,000 is being awarded to 2 construction projects to expand household hazardous waste collection programs. Sorry, I think I repeated myself. $500,000 is being awarded to construction projects to expand collection at existing facilities and help build a new drop-off point in underserved areas. $1 million in grant funding will go to 14 small projects. Since the current cycle was significantly oversubscribed and we had so many great projects, CalRecycle is using $1.5 million from fiscal year 26-27 to award more projects from the current solicitation. An additional 24 small projects will receive grant funding, including a California Native American tribe. This award is contingent upon fiscal year 26-27 California state budget allocation. As a result, there'll be no solicitation next fiscal year. Program staff will reevaluate our current criteria and present any proposed changes at a future public meeting, likely in winter or spring of 2027. Since 2005, grant programs for this program have kept more than 1.5 billion pounds of household hazardous waste out of our communities and landfills. We are also awarding a $150,000 farm and ranch grant to clean up 3 sites in Siskiyou County. Funds will help clear illegally dumped trash and add access gates to prevent future dumping. Cycle 90 is currently open as our pilot program, which allows more time to submit certain project documents. Applications are due April 7th, 2026. And since 1997, CalRecycle has awarded over $14 million to help clear more than 1,000 sites of solid waste, such as tires, appliances, vehicles, construction debris, and other trash. I'll hand it off to Product Stewardship Program Manager Karen Kavik for more updates.
Good morning, everybody. Just have a few updates today. Going to start off talking about the pharmaceuticals and sharps programs. We have an update on Med Project. CalRecycle received proposed changes to Med Project's stewardship plan for home-generated sharps waste regarding providing sharps waste containers and mailback materials at point of sale. We received that on December 11th, 2025. We are reviewing the proposal as a significant change to their plan. We accepted public comments on that change through January 9th, and we'll present the director's determination at a future monthly public meeting. You can find the proposed changes in the public notice linked in today's agenda. Next up, I have an update on the mattress program. CalRecycle received a Mattress Recycling Council's amended used mattress recovery and recycling plan on December 15th of last year, and we accepted comments also through January 9th. On January 14th, the director determined that MRC's plan is incomplete and advised MRC to revise and resubmit its plan within 30 days of that determination date. If CalRecycle determines that MRC's resubmitted plan is complete, then CalRecycle will have 90 days from the date of receipt of that revision to review the plan for compliance with statutory and regulatory requirements. You can find the amended plan and completeness letter in the public notice linked in today's agenda. Next up, I have several updates about our dealer cooperatives program. First, on December 31st and again on January 7th, Circular CRV Association notified CalRecycle of changes to its approved stewardship plan, including changes to its decision makers, dealer members, redemption contractors, redemption sites, unserved convenience zones in which it will provide redemption, and processors with which it will work. These changes do not require CalRecycle approval. Additionally, on January 2nd of this year, Circular CRV Association suspended redemption services in several convenience zones in Los Angeles, West Hollywood, and Long Beach. On January 12th, the stewardship plan became fully operational in convenience zones in Monrovia, Tracy, Redding, Palo Cedro, Novato, San Rafael, and Santa Rosa. For future updates, subscribe to the Beverage Container Recycling Program General Information email list. And next up, I'm going to hand things off to the Division of Materials Management and Local Assistance Deputy Director, Kara Morgan. Take it away, Kara.
Hey, thanks, Karen. I appreciate that. Good morning, everyone. I wanted to share with you a scope of work that I've approved, and this is regarding implementation of SB 1280. This is related to the 1 pound propane cylinders and setting up refillable or reusable propane cylinders, and that starts in 2028. This scope of work is intended to support our implementation of this law, and we are looking to hire a contractor with industry experience to provide research on current market conditions for these types of cylinders, to gather information about the availability of refillable cylinders, and to look at the existing infrastructure, what's needed to expand the infrastructure to meet the law's requirements. I'm also excited to tell you that the scope of work will include an education and outreach component to educate consumers and retailers and other interested parties regarding the purchase, the use, the transport, the maintenance, and the safe refilling of these 1 pound propane cylinders. Our selected contractor will begin work in the first half of 2026, so that's very soon. But I think it'll be a little bit later in the year, looking probably second quarter. And now I'm going to turn it over to Deputy Director Mark DeBee.
Thank you, Kara. With great pleasure, I'd like to introduce, go ahead, Julian. Julian Lopez. He's going to come up to the podium there and give us a presentation on a recently completed solid waste disposal cleanup in Yuba County. Dan.
Thank you, Mark, and good morning, everyone. So I'll be doing a presentation on the Clegg Disposal Site Remediation Project. It was a unpermitted site run by the lease tenant on a handshake lease agreement without the owner's knowledge. Material accumulated within a few months' time. Thank you. There was multiple fire incidents. The county LEA issued a notice of violation, which included a cease and desist order and corrective actions. In December 2024, CalRecycle awards a $500,000 grant to the county LEA to address the most urgent fire risk. CalRecycle approves a project on July 25th, 2025 to complete the remediation of the site. Photos show the site and one of the many fires just days after a CalRecycle site visit. Oh. All right, next slide, please. So project goals. The project goal was to address the continuing fire threat for the remaining stockpiles, process material into organized piles by material type, screening, and grinding. Find suitable end-use facilities for each of the material type to reduce project cost. Photos show screening operations to separate materials by size. Next slide, please. Middle screened size material. This was used as alternative daily cover at the Recology Ostrom Road landfill. It took 592 truckloads to haul 8,314 tons of material. Photos show stockpiled material after screening, loading material, placed ADC, and after pile cleared from site. Next slide, please. Next material is the mixed shredded wood. It was also used as ADC at the Ostrom landfill. It took 142 truckloads to haul 2,101 tons of material. Photos show mixed wood grinding operation, loading, dumping prior to use as ADC, and material placed as ADC. Material was too contaminated for composting or biomass fuel usage, but was acceptable for ADC purposes. Next slide, please. Wood chips. It was used as biomass at the Woodland Biomass Power Facility. It took 12 trucks to haul 282 tons of material. It should be noted one truckload was loaded and hauled at cost by H&H Trenching for use as an erosion control sock. Photos are of clean wood separated by equipment or screened, wood grinding operation, wood chips pile, and of overall Woodland Biomass Power Facility as our material was received. The owner did keep several roll ties and tree trunks for use on site along paved site areas and a pile of wood for firewood. Next slide, please. Peach pits. The peach pits were received from a local cannery by lease tenant in discrete pile. It was also taken to the biomass facility for biomass fuel. It took 53 truckloads to haul 1,139 tons of material. The photos show loading and hauling of material and after removal. Next slide, please. The topsoil. Topsoil was a fine screen blend of soil and organics. Material was tested and reused by a local agricultural soil amendment vendor. It was loaded and hauled at cost by John Lambert Trucking in Tucson, California. Most material taken directly to reuse sites. It took 75 truckloads to haul approximately 1,800 tons. Photos show material as loaded, hauled, and applied at the orchard by vendor. Next slide, please. So a summary. Between the county's grant project and CalRecycle's project, a total of 17,590 tons of material was removed from the site. Only 0.5% of all material went to disposal at landfill disposal rates. 95.5% of material went to other uses with lower cost. Staff estimates costs saved by processing material at approximately $750,000. Lessons learned. CalRecycle is new to large green waste sites. Assessing large sites in advance would allow contractor to better plan their approach, work, and equipment. When attempting to reuse material, allow more lead time for contractor coordination with local subcontractors and reuse facilities, and to rent specialized equipment. It should be noted that the site's future, the owner is planning an RV storage facility with the county. If successful, he would like to repay part or all of the CalRecycle's lien. And with that, I'll pass it back to Mark.
Thank you, Julian. So I'll just add the reference to material going to the landfill to use as ADC. Much of it was organic, and so per regulation statute that is considered disposed, but because they could reuse it, the price point was much lower. So we save some money that way. And then I think Julian alluded to early in the presentation about the fire threat. The site had caught fire a couple times. Very hot summer, if we remember. And so we were very, very concerned that the site would catch fire again. So we got the county in through a grant, and then we assessed future need, and then came in with the contractor to remediate it fully. And you can see 103 days from start to finish, very fast. So congratulations to the team. Thank you very much for that. Now, let's watch a quick solid waste permit and waiver program explainer, followed by the January 2026 updates from Program Manager Martin Perez.
To keep Californians healthy and protect our land, food, water, and air, CalRecycle and local enforcement agencies work together. Local enforcement agencies get community input, process permit applications, conduct inspections, and make sure solid waste facilities follow the law. CalRecycle verifies that permits for solid waste facilities, including landfills and compost sites, comply with state standards and inspections. Agreeing with the LEA that a permit is ready to be issued is known as concurring. Additionally, CalRecycle reviews approved emergency waivers and can modify, limit, or end them. Emergency waivers temporarily modify solid waste facility permits for up to 120 days and may be extended, providing relief for facility operators during disasters, and they're approved by local enforcement agencies. For waste tire facilities, CalRecycle issues and enforces waste tire facility permits to make sure tires are stored and processed safely. Scan this QR code or visit CalRecycle's website for more detailed information.
Since the December monthly public meeting, the department has concurred with the LEA's issuance of the following proposed solid waste facilities permits for Orange County: CVT Regional Material Recovery Facility and Transfer Station. On January 13, 2026, the department concurred with the LEA's issuance of the modified solid waste facilities permit. Action was needed by the department by January 17, 2026. Continuing on the agenda, for Orange County, Prima Desecha Landfill. This is a modified solid waste facilities permit. Action is needed by the department by February 16, 2026. New to the agenda, for Ventura County, Simi Valley Landfill and Recycling Center. This is a modified solid waste facilities permit. Action is needed by the department by March 6, 2026. Preliminary review of the permit package indicates the following proposed changes: update to the mailing address of the owner and operator, update to the estimated closure year, update to the legal description of the facility, updates to the current operating and supporting documents, and clarifying changes to the findings, prohibitions, self-monitoring, and conditions sections. For City of San Jose, Valley Recycling 2. This is a new solid waste facilities permit. Action is needed by the department by March 7, 2026. Preliminary review of the permit package indicates the following proposed design parameters. The proposed transfer processing facility will accept up to 2,451 tons per day of non-processable waste. Public hours of operation from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., 7 days a week, with contractors and operations occurring 24 hours, 7 days a week, and a total permitted area of 4.37 acres.
Now on to public comment. Do we have any comments in the room?
Good morning, Nick Lapis with California Against Waste. My question's about the cleanup project that you mentioned. One, Mark, you mentioned in your commentary afterwards about the reference to the ADC as non-disposal, which obviously it is disposal under state law, so just wanted to flag that. In the presentation...
Can you be a little closer to the microphone?
Sorry.
People online can't
better?
hear you.
In the presentation, they said that the C&D material was too dirty to compost. What about the green waste material? Was it also too dirty to compost? Because there were 8,000 tons that got ADC'd.
Steve can come up and give you a little bit more about the quality of material. This was a very heterogeneous mix, lots of contaminants in it. And the approach that the contractor took with our oversight was to process the material and separate it out. But Steve can talk a little bit more about the quality of the material and whether it was sufficient for composting. I think I said it was considered disposed, not
The
other way around.
The presentation said there's
Oh,
only
okay.
91 tons disposed.
Well, maybe that's why I wanted to clarify it verbally that,
No, it was mentioned that it was at disposal rate versus an ADC rate at the landfill. So the bulk of the cleaner green waste material, first of all, this is after the fact, all the material's been dumped on the ground in an uncontrolled manner by a person operating illegally. That's, you know, the premise. The cleaner of the green waste material that hadn't burned was handled during the county's grant. Most of that was processed to a degree that it could be taken to woodland biomass. And that was done by the county, cost competitively looking for how to get material off of the site and reduce the fire threat in a timely fashion. For us, most of the material was a little bit more contaminated. We dealt with the worst material or the lower quality material. The county was able to get a large volume of material off of the site for a relatively inexpensive price to reduce the fire threat. For us, we were looking at it with Recology, and we looked at essentially every material stream. And Recology, through either testing or visual assessment, said that materials weren't good enough for their composting operations. Composting operations beyond their facility were at great distance. But that's what we went off of with our project.
Thank you. Beyond the specifics of this project, I'm always struck when we hear about these cleanup presentations of, do we have a system in place to ensure the highest and best use? Because it seems like the focus is cleaning it up, which is obviously, you know, the genesis of the problem needs to be addressed. But is there a process in place to make sure we are pushing for the highest and best use? Maybe we do look at facilities that are a little farther away. I mean, it just seems like every time we have a cleanup situation, we end up disposing of all of it or the vast majority of it. And I hear you that the clean wood went to biomass, but you know, of 8,000 tons of green waste, it's hard to believe we couldn't compost any of that.
yes. So I think we do. And one reason why we wanted to show this presentation is to demonstrate where we're at right now. Years ago, it would have just been scoop, put it in a truck and take it to landfill. We're well past that now, where we're looking at how can we go through in a logical manner to assess what's there, figure out what could be processed on site, and then take that source separated, or not source, the separated material off to different end uses. Given that, there's still a calculation on the economic side, trying to do it at a lower cost as possible. So when you, usually the highest cost of these cleanups is hauling, distance factor in, and then disposal. So we're trying to reduce the disposal costs, but we're also looking at ways to reduce the hauling costs. So for this particular project, sending stuff to Woodland just down the road basically was easier than sending it farther afield to a compost site. So we weighed the economics with the benefits. But I think I'd end with the story is very little went to just disposal.
Again, ADC is disposal.
If I could chime in a little bit, there's a unique aspect of the solid waste cleanup program that needs to be brought into this. This is an enforcement and forced remedial action upon a private party. So in us leaning them for the entire cost of this project, part of that consideration is, are we doing it in a cost-effective manner? As soon as they're going to be penalized and pay for the entire amount, If we did something at greater cost, it could be legally challenged as far as the validity of our remedial action and our lien, as far as was it done at least cost. So there's a nuance to the cleanup program in that we essentially, through the county, compelled an enforcement and remedial action on a private party.
And not to be argumentative and go back and forth, I realize this is a public comment, but you know, the waste hierarchy does say that you are supposed to recycle or compost everything that is feasible. And that is also binding on the department. So if it is feasible to recover the material, you are actually required to. And I don't necessarily see that reflected in the cleanup programs. Maybe it's something we can address in a policy moving forward, not picking apart the specific project, but as we move forward.
Thanks.
Good morning, Evan Edgar, California Compost Coalition. Great project. The Clegg disposal project is really good. It's before and after. And the reason it's important is the shape of things to come. I definitely support everything that CAW said about highest and best use to compost first. And ADC, no matter how you paint it, it's disposal. So the last slide saying 91 tons of disposal and 750,000 disposal costs needs to be remedied, and reflected that 10,000 tons ADC is disposal, period. 1383 organic. So that needs to be remedied, and to fix it in the future is important. The reason why this project is so important is this is the shape of things that come in the Antelope Valley. A year ago, I think Mark DeVee went down to Antelope Valley, and we saw millions and million tons of green waste, contaminated green waste, C and D, in piles throughout the Antelope Valley. And whatever policy you guys set here on cost reimbursement, ADC use, highest and best use, will be reflected in the massive cleanup in Antelope Valley. So it's really important that you guys set the record here now, so we understand that highest best use is important. Some of that stuff in Antelope Valley could be screened for compost, but it's all unpermitted, needs to go through a permitted compost facility. A lot of it is mixed C and D that needs to be disposed of. A lot of it is just hazardous waste that is criminal activity. So it's been a year since we went down there, and CalRecycle did great work on the emergency regulations for land application to stop this in the future. And then the final regs, I guess, are going to be approved pretty soon. So good work on this project, good work on land application regulations, but we need more work on highest best use. And then as you guys approach the Antelope Valley, millions of tons of green waste, who's going to pay for it? What's a cost reimbursement? Here you got a lien on a property. Out in the upper Antelope Valley, it's a mess. So it's been a year since you went and investigated. It'd be nice to have some type of follow-up report about Antelope Valley land application and how you guys go about to force cleanup with the highest and best use. Thank you.
Any other comments in the room?
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly note that just last week, we had a public meeting with the residents in Antelope Valley to give them an update and talked about what we're doing to find ways to, after enforcement, to work with other state entities on approaches to cleanup. So given this discussion, we will certainly look at the hierarchy and find ways to use the material and not dispose of it. Thanks.
I just want to thank both Evan and Nick for your comments, and also acknowledge the incredible work of Mark and his team and our legal team to turn those regs around very, very quickly in response to the concerns that we heard at a public meeting here. I'm not remembering exactly when that was, maybe about a year and a half ago. And also, you know, acknowledge that we do have a focus on highest and best use, and I kind of equate this to how we think about debris removal, in that we have a public health issue. We have cost of the mine, we have a potential for fire risk, particularly with this site. And we acknowledge the need to adhere to highest and best use to the extent possible, but I think to the point that was made, also look at cost effectiveness. So my hope is, as we're continuing to build more compost and other organics processing facilities in the state, and we're dealing with more contaminated material from some of these sites, that there's potentially other processing that comes online, because what I heard from the presentation is we did our best with what we had, and there's some challenge to being able to screen or pre-sort this material to get it to a place where it can be successfully composted into the kind of compost that we want here in California. So would be interested in engaging more with you all on that when we think about what infrastructure needs we still have in the state as we're still building up 1383 infrastructure, how to be able to achieve the goal of both quick and quick cleanups that make sense from an economics perspective, but also that adhere to the CalRecycle principles of highest and best use. So thank you for those comments, and a big thank you to our team here at CalRecycle as well.
Any other comments in the room? On phone or Zoom? Okay, with that, we will be posting the video of the monthly public meeting in English.
Hi, we just had someone raise their hand on Zoom.
Okay,
Shirley F., I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Unmute. Okay. I'm assuming you can hear me. This is Shirley Frericks from Nevada County.
we can hear you.
Okay. I have a couple things. One is there was a law passed, excuse me, last year about power tools, like, you know, for when the mow and blow guy comes, he has this big blower with this big pack on his back, and they're supposed to use batteries now. But I talked to my guy last week and I said, you aren't using batteries. And he said, you know, it's impossible. He goes around to maybe 8 or 10 clients a day, and he has to keep blowing, you know, over and over and over all day long, you know, X number of days a week. And he said, you know, batteries are not, I can't use them. I'd like to be, you know, take care of the law, but I understand why you want to do batteries, but it's impossible. What do you do with things like that? I mean, he's not going to be able to comply, period. What do you do?
Thank you, Shirley. That's a really good question, and I think speaks to one of the challenges, but also opportunities with new laws that come online with a really important and positive intent, but the infrastructure or the technology hasn't quite caught up with what it is that we're trying to implement here statewide. So while, and not to push this off, but while CalRecycle isn't the implementing entity here, we hear you, particularly as it comes to potential end-of-life management of these products that have either batteries embedded in them. There I go. Or other batteries that have different end-of-life needs from an infrastructure perspective, from a convenience perspective than other sorts of technology that may have been existing for quite some time. And, you know, we're committed to continuing to work with you all, particularly on that end-of-life recycling component, to ensure that there is infrastructure in place and convenience in place so that these products can be managed appropriately, and also in supporting our sister agencies as we're implementing these new laws that do require a shift in how we've always done things. So appreciate you reaching out, and also happy to connect you if it would be helpful with, would it be ARB, Air Resources Board? And the contacts there who may be working through some of the implementation challenges.
Okay, good. Well, that's good to know, because one of the next questions is about enforcement. Yeah, you know, another thing I'm trying to do here is to get all of the eateries, the restaurants, and so forth. We still have 2 that use polystyrene takeout, and I wrote to them last fall, and I went by there, I talked to them, and I went to the Nevada County Environmental Health, and they said, well, CalRecycle. I said, who enforces this? I go back there last night, and they're still using polystyrene. What do you do?
We've got Mark to be here. I'm going to turn it over to him to talk a little bit about our EPS first compliance assistance strategy and enforcement strategy.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Zoe. And thank you for your observation. We're hearing about that kind of situation throughout the state. And just note that there is a way to report that to us on our website. If you look and search for EPS, you'll, I think, eventually find the link to send in your observations. We're using that information plus other information to identify producers that are selling material in the state. And we'll be ramping up enforcement very soon after the regulations are in place, so that we have confidence on moving forward in taking actions relative to violations of the law. While we're waiting for the regs to be complete, we continue our activities to educate folks about the requirements, provide assistance to them so they understand what the requirements are. And we're also developing a deeper set of, or a database of all the entities involved, so that we'll be more efficient when we're able to take direct enforcement. Thanks.
Okay, good. Thank you. That's good to know. And I will look that up, the EPS on the website and report it again. I also am concerned about, I work here about circular economy. You know, I work on the Solid Waste Commission, and I do a lot of articles and other ways of trying to get the public to understand. And I know the climate change clubs at the school and high school and stuff, to help them understand circular economy. But when it comes to CRVs, especially plastic, there's nowhere for it to go. It's not possible to do circular economy as I would like to imagine it could happen with plastic. We don't have recycling facilities anywhere around here. I work with waste management. You know, what they can do. Last time I went to the sorting plant, they said, well, there's the bale, and we're trying to find a place to send it. They don't send it to Asia. So we know, what do we do with it? You know, it sits there until they find maybe a place in Canada or wherever. So, you know, the circular economy thing and plastic it's a very big challenge, as I'm sure you know. I listened to what you just said about SB 54 and where you are on that. I mean, that was the savior law, and now it doesn't look like that's going to be able to happen to stop it and turn off the tap, as they say, you know, to stop it. You know, what are we doing? How do we really make this work, this circular economy thing?
Thanks for that question, Shirley. And it's really hard to answer that succinctly, but appreciate that there are challenges specifically with plastics recycling. You know, we've all heard and seen in the media the challenges globally with plastic recycling right now, and particularly as virgin plastic's really cheap, finding markets for recycled content is very challenging. We do know that, well, I'm still optimistic that once the packaging EPR law is implemented, we'll see an increase in infrastructure statewide and regionally, particularly as our neighboring states are also standing up packaging EPR to for there to be more domestic markets. We do have a recycled content law for beverage containers in California that requires beverage manufacturers to utilize recycled content. Although the recycled content can come from anywhere. And one of the challenges that we have here in California is that a lot of that recycled content's coming from overseas, so it doesn't compete well with the domestic recycled content that we're generating. So we're looking into where there could be some potential solutions. It's a global issue, and we hear the importance. The last thing we want is to be implementing all these laws and have plastic bales being sent to landfill. We want to create more circularity for them. And one of the parts of SB 54 that we're very excited about is the source reduction component. That's not specific to beverage containers, but it is specific to plastic packaging and covered materials that'll be sold into the state. And so we'll continue to track markets, and part of SB 54 is tracking progress. So when it is implemented, the Circular Action Alliance, the product stewardship organization, will be submitting reports, annual reports to the department. So we can see that progress in creating markets and ensuring that plastic packaging is going to responsible end markets. And at the same time, you know, we'll do our best within our authority to continue to support the plastic recycling markets here in California. But it is a big issue right now, a challenging one, and there isn't a perfect solution in place at this time. Amy, is there anything you want to?
Just one more comment on the SB 54, and that is, it was my understanding that, you know, source reduction, you say we're working on source reduction, oh, that's good, but I thought it was also about changing the makeup of the material so that it was not toxic and it didn't break down into microplastics and stuff. Is that not going to be possible with this situation now?
You know, there's requirements in the law, and I believe this is in 54, that requires ensuring that plastics that are utilized for packaging don't have intentionally added PFAS, and that microplastic contamination is overall, you know, one thing that the PRO is attempting to avoid through creating recycling processes where material is being sent to responsible end markets. So it's not all comprehensive because it's more specific to CalRecycle's role in implementation. But at the same time, we have, and also there's certain plastic resins that may have more challenging be more challenged in achieving the recycling rates, which would take them out of commerce. For example, extended polystyrene food service ware, we found didn't achieve, there was no demonstration of achieving a 25% recycling rate. So that shouldn't be sold anymore. I know that you acknowledge that there's some food service establishments up by you that's still selling, but we hope that, you know, once we ramp up enforcement and continue with our compliance assistance, those food service establishments and others in the state will no longer be selling those materials. So I think when 54 is fully implemented, it'll allow for phasing out of some of these more challenging materials that are not able to demonstrate achieving recycling rates, and for the plastic that's still generated, that's going to responsible end markets. So it's not ending up as, you know, litter or contaminants in our ocean environments or other environments to help mitigate some of those concerns and issues with microplastics. And then just acknowledging our sister agency, DTSC, is holding a number of workshops right now where they're considering listing microplastics in their Safer Consumer Products program, which gets more at the toxicity piece and the harmful chemical product categories. So that's a concurrent process that's happening that's getting a little bit more into the microplastic concerns as far as which products they're in and whether or not there's alternatives to those products.
I really appreciate that. I know this is all terribly complicated, but anyway, I do appreciate all your work on this and that you're aware and working on it. I do my work on this end. Thank you.
Thank you, Shirley, for your engagement with us and for all that you're doing in your community. And we'll follow up with a few resources for you. And just to make sure I got them right, we're going to send you a link, a contact at the Air Resources Board who's working on the law that you had mentioned around leaf blowers and other sorts of appliances like that.
Good.
We're also going to follow up with, what was the second thing? Oh, a link to our EPS enforcement site where you can, our EPS complaint portal. And I think that does it for now, but thanks again for calling in.
Thank you.
Other comments online or on the phone?
Those are all the comments for today. Shirley, our team will be messaging you shortly to get your contact information. And those are all the comments.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We will post the video of the monthly public meeting in both English and Spanish in the coming days on our YouTube channel. And thank you very much for attending, and we will see you in February.